Hi everyone, this video is on impact bias and I'm going to show you how it manifests itself in the example of breakups. Let's learn the words of the topic. Pause the video. The second slide. By the way, you'll also find more definitions on other slides. In this video, I want to talk about an even more insidious annoying feature of the mind that affects us even more than hedonic or perceptual adaptation itself. It is that, in addition to having hedonic adaptation, we also don't realize that we are going to have it. We don't realize that our minds get used to this stuff. And this is a particular thing that messes up our predictions, because we think the happy things that we seek out are going to make us happy for a long time. And maybe even more insidious thing, we don't realize that if bad things happen, we are just not going to be that much affected by them very soon. Just as I told you in previous videos, we think that we buy a new awesome thing, we get into this new relationship, we get a perfect job, that we are going to maintain the same level of happiness, but we are just not. This is an illusion. And if we realize that, we might be a lot happier. And there is a word for this that Harvard psychologist Dan Gilbert and his colleagues came up with. They call this bias the impact bias. And this is the idea that we tend to overestimate the emotional impact of things in two ways, both in terms of their intensity and in terms of their duration. We think good events are going to be better than they're going to be at the moment we get it, and we think that it's going to last longer than it really does. Another interesting thing is that the impact bias we have for negative predictions is much worse than we think. Meaning, the discrepancy in predictions about negative events is bigger than in predictions about positive ones. Let me share with you the results of just one of the surveys showing these effects. So, what happens when people go through a horrible breakup? What predictions do they have about their happiness levels after certain periods of time? This survey was done among people who thought they were going to be with another person for a long time, but they broke up in that long-term relationship. Both were predicting something about the intensity of how bad this was going to be and its duration. Were they right? Professor Paul Eastwick and his colleagues looked at this, and it turns out people are wrong in their predictions. Here is their prediction of distress and what it actually is like on this graph. So you can see the level of distress on the vertical axis, and on the horizontal one you see weeks since breakup. You see that the actual level of distress is much lower than it was predicted by these people. Is the solid black line. Basically, at every point, if we asked these people, how about 6 weeks in? How about 10 weeks in? People are just off in their predictions. They're just way better. They're way happier than they expected, even with this negative event. So don't be afraid of negative events too much. You are going to be better than you think. Stay happy and see you later.